The Lost Art with Andrew Cox podcast. Marine Corps League and Till Valhalla Project Ambassador. Now streaming on all major podcast platforms. Thanks for tuning in to the podcast that's given a voice to our veterans. The Lost Art with Andrew Cox. Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the Lost Art Podcast, that podcast giving a voice to our veterans. I'm your host, Andrew Cox, and today we're having a fireside chat with the crew. But before we get into the episode, are you enjoying the podcast? Well, make sure you go to the website. That's thelostart.podbean.com. Go check us out, see what we're all about. If there's any way you can help us in getting our veteran voices out for all to hear, it would be much appreciated. A big shout out to the Till Valhalla Project out there doing some amazing things. If you don't know anything about them, make sure you go to their website. That's tillvalhallaproject.com. And for all of those Marines out there that have gotten out, those FMF sailors that are out there that have gotten out, don't worry, there's a place for you once you do get out. It's called the Marine Corps League. Make sure you go check it out. Join their ranks. That's mcleague.org. Are you a Marine veteran? Are you missing that bond you had on active duty? Then I have a place for you. Join the only congressionally chartered Marine Corps Veteran Service Organization, the Marine Corps League. Get that brother and sisterhood back in your life. Become one of the fewer, the prouder, a Marine Corps League member. All right, we got the crew here. We'll go ahead and go round robin. All right, Aaron, how you been doing, man?
Well, as y'all know, appreciate the love and support from all y'all out there. As you know, I lost my mother, I guess, about a week and a half ago now. So been dealing with that. So it's been a rough couple of weeks here, but other than that, we're getting by, pushing forward, and getting back into the groove of things now. So other than that, all else is well.
Very nice. Yeah, you're back down in Florida. What's the weather like down there?
Hot, humid. So I'll tell you a little more. So it was nice and cool. I mean, you couldn't ask for better weather in Arkansas. And then I leave, and the storms roll through that area now. So it's pretty bad there. Some tornadoes had hit a few places, not in my hometown, but a few places in Arkansas, and some flooding now. Right now, my aunt at her place, she lives on White Creek. It's basically a wildlife refuge there in near Desark, Arkansas, and she's flooded in right now. So
No kidding.
I'll ask for prayers for them and keep them safe.
Yeah, absolutely. Holy cow. Yeah, the weather's been crazy up in that area lately. In Oklahoma, tonight it was supposed to get down enough to possibly snowing, which is crazy.
Yeah. One more thing. Y'all know me, I watch baseball. I love the Hogs. Watch them this weekend playing Missouri, and weather wasn't great, and still not. And it's like, in the 40s there, and they're all bundled up out on the field, still swinging bats.
Good for them. I don't think I could do it. It's too cold to be out doing that stuff.
Yeah.
Gotta love it. All right, Mike, how you been doing?
Doing good. I had a busy week. I was down in Florida all week there, Aaron. So had to go down there and help do some stuff down there. But it was a decent week. Got my overtime in.
Yeah.
Got back yesterday and was a grass cutting fool. Didn't want to, but I had to. So
Yeah.
I had to clean out gutters because we were getting some rains there a week or so ago. And I'm like, my wife's like, the back patio is flooding. I'm like, it's flooding. She goes, yeah, the gutters are just overflowing. And I was like, son of a gun.
Gotta love it.
Yeah, it's just that stuff homeowners have to do, unfortunately.
Yeah, that sucks. I don't know anything about all that. So.
Just had a big day of doing nothing today. It was supposed to rain here all day long, but it never did. It's supposed to be some storms coming in tonight. But
oh, well, that's fun.
But you're right, Aaron. It was hot as blazes down there in Florida. I was like, good Lord. One day it was like 96, and I'm like, God.
Already?
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Well, even here it's in the 80s, but I'm like, I'll take 80 over 96 down there any day. Holy cow.
Is it super humid down there still too?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's crazy.
Golly. Good times. Good times. All right.
96 down there, and it's going to snow in Oklahoma. Isn't that's freaking nuts.
I got Sensei here. Sensei Nay, how are you?
Good. It's been a busy week. Let's see. Well, I should say it's been a busy weekend. Let's see. My rock band students at school wanted to have a weekend rehearsal because we were falling behind, and they decided that we needed a weekend rehearsal. So it was good on them for the senior leadership in that class. It was awesome. I say the class, it's 5 kids. But it was kind of weird. We pulled into when I pulled in. Our rehearsal was at 9:00. I pulled in at like 8:45 to the school, and there was cars everywhere. And I'm like, oh crap! I didn't even think to make sure that my music room was going to be available because the athletic department sees the music room as a multi-purpose room, so they don't even ask to borrow it. It's just in their facility, so they use it whenever they feel like it. And I'm like, I did not even think to ask, and there are cars everywhere. And I'm like, please don't let my room be full. Please don't let my room be full. Luckily, one of the basketball coaches runs like a basketball camp. So he was having his camp in the gymnasium, which is across the hall from my music room. So, but nice. The other thing is like on the other side of the school, on the other side of the circle, the traffic circle inside of our school, I saw a whole bunch of cars all lined up on next to the field that is going to be the future site of our new high school. They haven't broken ground yet. We still got a couple $1 million left to raise as far as fundraising, but it's going to be on this field. But they were using the field for fly fishing classes. So
no kidding.
Yeah, I look over the fence. They put the construction fences up, but you can see over the top of the fence. You see all these fly poles whipping back and forth. And I'm like, hey, nice. I've been there. I remember when you were teaching me to fly fish, many years ago in San Diego, I used to like practice out in my street. My neighbor always used to come out and give me a hard time. Hey, Nate, is the fish biting? Like, shut up. Go back inside. We had rehearsal. So like in the basketball camp, kids kept and their parents kept poking their heads in because we were playing like Oye Como Va and Fly Like an Eagle, some good rock tunes. We're working on a Stevie Wonder tune, I Wish, right now. Nice. So the bass player is rocking it, man. It's finally starting to groove. So I'm glad of that. We had our new refrigerator delivered yesterday. So $1,800 refrigerator just got delivered. We've been on so we have one of those real small, not like an office refrigerator, but like a smaller compact refrigerator out in the garage. And then I have one of those small office refrigerators. We've been surviving on those 2 refrigerators for the last month. Because we're trying to between the $2,500 for the van plus the $2,000 down payment to get the floor replaced, plus the refrigerator, plus getting a new back tire on the motorcycle, plus everything. I mean, we've had to kind of position things around. So we've been living out of office refrigerator for the last month. Got some awesome news from the motorcycle shop, getting the back tire replaced, and 3 weeks ago, I called and said, hey, can I make an appointment on this date? And he goes, yeah. You're further out than what we're scheduling. So what time of day you want? I can get you in whatever you want. I was like, 9:00 in the morning, first thing. Great, perfect. See you in 3 weeks. So Friday night, I went down and dropped off the bike because I wasn't going to be able to do it because of my rock band rehearsal. I drop off the bike. Friday night, we go to had a date night, went to a melting pot. Then we went to this real cool little bougie downstairs speakeasy down in Savannah, which was awesome, called the Peacock Lounge. If you're in Savannah, I highly recommend it. And then we come back, Saturday, I have my rehearsal, and then I'm waiting for somebody to call me and tell me the bike's done. And just as I'm about to call them at 2:45 in the afternoon, somebody calls me and says, oh, hey, I just wanted to let you know we haven't even started your bike yet. And I'm like, what? Yeah. So I've been like not riding the bike because it needed a new back tire, like bad. Like if I put another 50 miles on it, I was going to start to see cable, that kind of, I mean, it was that low. It was bad. But so I'm jonesing to get on the bike, and I'm like, yeah, get my bike back today. And then he's like, no, we haven't even started it yet. 3:00 in the afternoon. Sorry, we're not going to finish it. Maybe Monday. I'm like, what the heck?
Oh,
Yeah. And I'm not going to be able to pick it up Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, maybe Thursday.
jeez.
Because it's supposed to rain tomorrow afternoon. Then Tuesday I have school board meeting. Wednesday I have school board meeting, and then Thursday I might be able to go get it.
Well, that's fun.
Yeah,
That was good news. You said that's good news.
yeah. Well, I'm not good news, but it's good. It's news.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's news.
But now on to better news, though. Here's the good news. I don't know if you can see this here. It almost washes it out. You almost can't see it. I got a little light here. Yeah, you can't really see it.
Yeah, it's reflecting off it.
Yeah, this is a Metropolitan cigar. I think I've viewed one of these before or done one of these before, but not this particular brand. Well, what do you call it? Wrapper style.
Mm-hmm.
I think the last one I smoked was a Maduro. This is a Connecticut. This is Davidoff is a premium cigar. There are only like 300 and change like authorized Davidoff dealers in the United States, and my local cigar shop, Peaceful Henry, is one of them. But Davidoff puts out a very, very, all of their lines of cigars are very, very, very good. And they're upper echelon cigars. You know, one of their cheaper cigars is probably $19, and they go from there. Their most expensive cigar is around $600. The Davidoff Blanco Oro is a very highly sought after. I mean, the tobacco's aged for decades and all kinds of stuff. Yeah, but the Blanco Oro is like, well, it goes up every year. But the last year when we got ours, they were like $650 each.
Wow.
Yeah. But this is the Metropolitan line. This is like their budget friendly line. The stick is this is a Robusto, the classic 5x50, and it was $9. But they're Dominican, and then the wrapper is Connecticut broadleaf. So it should be a nice smooth cigar. Website says white pepper, cream. I know, Mike, that you like that, and cigar or cedar wood. So yeah.
Nice.
So that's $650 cigar. Is that like something you buy to like boost your portfolio for investments and stuff like that?
I would say yes, but I've seen we had one of the regulars come into Peaceful Henry and buy 3 of them in one night.
God.
And smoke 2 of them in one night. Yeah. $1,500. Well, right there on the spot, $1,000 up in smoke.
If you got literally up in smoke.
Yeah, literally. But I'm pairing it tonight with an old fashioned. So
I just can't even believe that somebody.
Well, I know there's people have that to be able to smoke stuff like that or do stuff like that. I just can't. I don't understand.
Yeah, and I mean they're out there. I mean there are a lot of people that collect cigars. I mean, just like people collect bourbons or collect scotches or high end stuff, and then it's about as much as they have on their liquor shelves as what they're actually drinking. You know. And cigar smokers are the same way. They collect high-end cigars, and on special occasions they'll break them out and smoke them. I have a couple of Opus X's, which are usually highly sought after cigars. They're $40-$50 each, but they're released in limited edition. One of them I'm going to smoke here in next month when my daughter graduates. Yep. I have another high-end cigar that I passed out when Jenna was born. I kept one out of the box for my first grandchild. So when our first grandchild's born, I'm going to smoke that cigar that I passed out when Jenna was born. So it's been sitting in my humidor aging for 18 years now.
It's still good. Like you can soft and all that stuff. Okay.
Yep. I keep my humidor pretty good. So I keep it pretty well maintained. And then when I cross country, I use the Bovita packs. So
those work
you don't
really
have to
well.
have it plugged in. Yeah. But yeah.
Well, I'm pairing your cigar with my ranch water this evening. And I have ranch water because I'm actually in Virginia Beach currently. I'm here for Staff Sergeant Filkins. Finally got selected for Gunny and is getting promoted. So So I'm here to watch him get promoted. And then,
Hey.
so it's going to be pretty cool. I'm excited about that. You remember Filkins, right, Aaron?
Yeah, I was going to say how long has he been waiting on that?
Long time.
Yeah.
I think he, if I'm not mistaken, was passed over 4 times, maybe 5.
Yeah.
It's been a long time coming.
Yeah.
So he finally got it. He's very excited about it, as he should be. It's a good day for the Corps, at least in my opinion.
At one point in time, that many times passed over would have been a damn death sentence. Holy cow!
Well, I'll tell you, it just real quick. Before I left, I looked over his stuff. It's not like he wasn't trying to get promoted. He wasn't, he was doing the things he needed to do. It's just, I don't know how that field is, but it's like mine. It's, you can do everything you need to do, and the board's looking at you and says, well, I think this person over that person. So
yeah.
This
And
guy.
I don't know. I don't understand why he got passed over as many times as he did. I mean, he's got an excellent record. Everything's good. Like, it doesn't his fitness report's been like perfect. I think he was the number 1 like 2 years ago or something like that. I mean, I just don't get it.
It happens.
Yeah.
I spent 9 years as a gunnery sergeant. 9 years and 2 months.
Yeah.
Luckily, I only got 1 P though, but like I had to do everything to get promoted. I was lucky enough that I went to one of the road shows that came through town, and the master sergeant was like this, that, and this, that, and my master brief sheet had blood all over it, and do all this and that, and I did everything he told me to do in 1 year, except for get a master's degree. That was the only thing I obviously could not accomplish in 1 year, but everything else I did in 1 year, and it was rough.
But that's the year that you got selected? Was that year?
Yeah, it was the year I got selected. But I mean, I went from green belt to black belt in 1 year, and oh my god,
yeah, you were working it. Yeah,
that was awful. I do not recommend doing that.
Yeah,
there was like a solid 8-month period that I was like, there was not a day that I was not covered in bruises.
Yeah, black and blue, sore as all get out. Yeah, man.
Yeah,
screw that map crap. That's a pain in the butt right there. All right, I guess we'll just go ahead and jump back into it. Military news with Sensei Nay.
Oh, hey.
Even though you didn't get your suit on this go round like you said you were going to.
Sensei Nay needs a new photo, by the way.
Yeah. He needs one with his gi on,
Let's see. Education benefits make stronger service members, better military. Go figure. So let's see. On top of the military tuition assistance programs, which all the services have, which is $250. It's up to $250 a credit hour now, and not exceeding $4,500 annually. When I took advantage of it, I think it was like $175 a credit hour, not to exceed $3,200. So it's slowly rising with the cost of education, which is awesome. What I did not know is the Air Force and the Navy have their own community colleges, where enlisted service members can earn an associate's degree at no cost during their off-duty time. Of course, we knew about, we all know about the GI Bill, the post 9/11 GI Bill, which my daughter is going to be using in a mere 5 months when she goes to college. But who's counting, right? I mean,
yeah.
Let's see. Well, one thing I did not know though is the ROTC program. I knew about it, but students at civilian universities are most typical applicants for attendance for the Reserve Officers Training Corps program, or ROTC, as they like to call it. The Army, Navy, and Air Force all host programs. The Navy runs ROTC for both the Navy and the Marine Corps, and the Air Force runs ROTC for Air Force and Andrew's favorite Space Force. But it's not just for college freshmen to pursue an ROTC education. Across all branches of the armed services, there are programs that allow enlisted service members to leave the military and pursue a civilian college education on the ROTC scholarship, then return later to their service as commissioned officers. I didn't know. I mean, the Marine Corps has a the ESEP and the
Mhm.
MESEP, right? Which is allows you to do that. But I didn't realize it was part of the ROTC program.
Interesting.
Yeah. Let's see. And then, of course, all the services have their academies for leadership schools. But yeah, so I thought that was interesting about the ROTC program. Let's see. Again, I apologize. All my websites got wiped when I loaded in to the podcast here. According to Military Times, VA Secretary to testify on department budget needs and workforce cuts. Let's see. Doug Collins, which is the Veteran Affairs Secretary, comes his trip to Capitol Hill comes amid increasing frustration among lawmakers about department reform plans. The secretary had set a goal of reducing the VA workforce to less than 400,000 staffers, which would require eliminating more than 80,000 federal posts in the coming months. So yeah, that's all. That stuff is still in the works. And I think we talked a little bit about it last week, about my own local VA hospital. When I went and had my my stress test done for my heart, that department had lost 4 people already.
Yeah.
Let's see. Walls and lawmakers search for a solution to prevent government fraud, which obviously we know everything's going on. But let's see. I can't remember. I don't think this was the article that I pulled up before. Yeah. So my apologies, but I think that's about all I got. I yield the rest of my time.
All right. Sounds good. I guess we're going to go ahead and move on to current news with Aaron.
Oh man, I need a new photo. That one's kind of rough.
You look good, man. You look
All
like you
right.
were retired.
All right. So we'll go ahead and talk about this one that's been in the news for a few days now. So I'll just read briefly from the article and then we can just discuss. Authorities have charged Carmelo Anthony with a K, not the basketball player, a student athlete from Frisco's Centennial High School with murder after he allegedly stabbed 17-year-old Austin Metcalf, a junior at Memorial High School in Frisco. That's Frisco, Texas, to death on Wednesday morning over a seating dispute. So I'll stop there because everything else has been hearsay. A lot of rumors going around and stuff, and I think his dad just was interviewed on it and said, "Look, this is not a political thing. This is not a race thing. It's a human thing. Kid made a bad decision that affected,
Yeah.
two teenage boys and their families. Because as we know, this kid could go to prison for a very long time. So, but yeah, go
No,
ahead.
I've heard several different things, like who started it, right?
Yeah.
That is going to play one way or the other, and then of course, they're going to go to court and all that good stuff about it. And now he was arrested, correct?
Yeah. So, I hadn't heard all the details. I mean, you hear different stories, so on and so forth. Allegedly, what I heard and seen written and reported that it occurred was, the kid Carmelo Anthony was, they had these shade tents up for,
Mhm.
at these track meets and stuff, and
Yeah.
he was under their shade tent, and I guess they came up there and they said, "Hey, who are you? You're in the wrong spot. You need to go somewhere else." And I guess the altercation occurred, and from what I seen is the Austin kid, Metcalf kid, supposedly allegedly grabbed his bag to move it, and I guess the kid reached in the bag and pulled a knife out and stabbed him. Now there's other reports out there where he told the police that he put his hands on him, so on and so forth. So he was defending himself. Uh, but a knife at a track meet, high school track meet.
Yeah.
My question is, this day and age, why is security not doing their job, checking bags, etc.?
They're probably
Is
not.
there, or it was security even there? Yeah.
Probably, yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's probably no security there. It's not like going to like a NFL game or something like that where they're,
Right.
basically frisking you at the front gate. Yeah,
Now
I don't know.
I don't know how large that school is, but schools that I'm from, where I'm from, well, even right down the road here is a fairly large school. I mean, they graduate 400 plus every class, uh, and school events. There's always some type of security there
Yeah.
at the entrance anyway. Again, track meet. I don't know. I haven't been to a track meet in a very long time.
Yeah. Me too. Um, so here's something that when you think back to when we were growing up, right?
Mhm.
Um, a knife fight or guns or anything like that was not a thing that you went to. It was fisticuffs. You beat each other up, and then 5 minutes later, you're like, "Oh, okay, yeah, we're good," type of thing.
It wasn't a normal thing. It's becoming a normal thing now for kids, teenagers to have guns and knives.
Yeah.
Like you just said, we would have fights on the playground or out behind the school building or
Hmm.
with the fights I got into was there was like an auditorium and a high school gym and there was it was almost like an alleyway in
Yeah.
between
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
and teachers never went in there, so it's like meet me here, so we'd meet there, we'd throw a few blows, people would break us up, and we go on about our business.
Yeah.
But it's becoming the norm for teenagers. The knives and gunfights you heard about were gang related.
Yep.
Uh, Motorcycle clubs, the 1% motorcycle clubs. You
Hmm.
heard about it on the news all the time.
Yeah.
Um, so,
You know what?
again, gang related. It wasn't your average day Joe Schmo that was, pulling out guns and knives to kill people just
Right.
because they disagreed with them.
Yeah. And that's just so weird to me. I don't know. Now,
I
are you
mean, we as kids, I know I did.
say
In
it
high
again?
school, I said I know me. Where I went to school, in high school, and that. I mean, it was nothing for somebody to have a pocket knife
Well,
in
yeah,
Yeah,
school. I mean,
but that was
but
but that
but you
wasn't
didn't
the
use
first
it.
thing that
yeah,
wasn't the first thing
there
we
was
thought
never a
of.
thought of I'm pulling a knife on you. I'm not,
Right.
start stabbing somebody. It's
It was
just,
almost like a respect thing in a sense of like if you did pull a knife, then you were kind of I don't know, you were a chicken. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Uh, it was kind of how I don't know. Maybe that's the way I looked at it. Like if you had to pull a knife, I mean, yeah, you're gonna you either get your butt kicked or you don't. But if you had to pull a knife, I don't know. It just seems like you're taking the coward way out in a
We
sense.
can all say, it's social media today and it's video games, and
Yeah.
I really don't know what it is, but
It's funny that you should bring that up because I've been listening to an audiobook called The Anxious Generation, and I think I'm like on chapter 3 or 4, so I'm just barely getting into the book. But it talks about all of this and how all of it started basically from the author Jonathan Haidt, Haidt, Haidt. I don't know how to say it. But the author calls the time period from 2010 to 2015 the Great Rewiring. And the reason is because around that time frame is when cell phones came out with front-facing cameras.
Hmm.
So and in the things that were happening in the late 80s, early 90s eventually came to fruition in the early 2000s about the culture of helicopter parents overprotecting their kids. And then during that 5 year period is when everything basically came to a head and all parents started overprotecting, and not just in the United States, in countries around the world. It all happened at the same time. It's kind of
It's
been
interesting.
it's been interesting how he's kind of tracked it. Like the U.S. and Great Britain are the two biggest offenders, but like 2010 to 2015, parents started overprotecting their kids from anything outside the walls of their house, but they left them completely unprotected online.
Yeah.
So in a physical world, they completely overprotected them. They didn't allow them to go outside and do things that kids do. Now, I mean, when we all grew up, it was like go out, scrape your knee, get into your fights, but make sure you're back when the street lights come on.
Mhm.
But now kids are not even allowed to go outside. And I don't even remember a few years ago, parents were calling the cops on parents that were letting their kids walk to the park by themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's like I'm not even going to overprotect my kids. I'm going to overprotect your kids. And then we also went away from the solidarity of the adults in the community. We went away from now as adults. We don't correct kids that we see doing stupid things in
Oh
public.
yeah.
No, that's not my kid. I don't want to be considered. Remember, all parents, we're protecting our kids against things they don't need to be protected against. Because now they think everybody, if you got, if you got a beard or whatever, or based on the color of your skin, you're some kind of, evil person that's going to do harm to my kid, right?
Right.
So now I don't want to be confused as an aggressor on a child, so I'm just not going to say anything. I'm not going to get involved.
Mm-hmm.
So now we like kids are like there's absolutely no protection. All training wheels are off online, but now our parents are uber overprotective in the real world. We can't let anything happen to them. Leave my kid alone. There's even like anecdotally the author was talking about how a mother followed her kid on a bus to a field trip to make sure that he got there safely. Yeah, I mean it's stupid. So I mean and because of that, it has really affected males and females differently, but it has affected them quite a bit. Females are all about the whole body image thing online,
Yeah.
constantly posting. You never see, very rarely do you see, all the boys posting TikToks of themselves dancing. It's always the girls, right? But the boys, their online presence is in online video games.
Yeah. I can see that.
And yeah. So when the girls are very addicted to the likes. Oh, look, I got that back. Look at that.
I was going to say, you're getting the thumbs up.
Yeah. You're agreeing with yourself a lot right now.
Yeah. But so
I don't think mine does it. No.
Hey, look at that.
Yeah, I got
Wait a minute, what about this one? Maybe not. All right. So the girls are like, yeah. Nice. The girls are overly worried about, the criticism that they're going to get online, whereas the boys are completely just, for the most part, jerks because there's no consequences for their actions online.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I quit playing. I used to play Destiny quite a bit, and my tag on Halo or all that kind of stuff was bullet catcher because I sucked at it. But like the reason I stopped playing was not because I sucked at it, but was because the first time I got teabagged by a 13-year-old kid. Yeah. Yeah, so like you die, and it shows you like a little instant replay of you getting killed, and then the person that kills you runs up, and then they you can duck down to shoot, but they duck down over your head to teabag you and then they run off, and then if you got one of the mics on, you're like, oh, I'm 13 years old, I just teabagged you, and then you're like, screw you, kid, and I'm out of here, and just turn off the game, and that's the last time I ever played Halo.
That is funny.
I was going to say, and there wasn't a parent anywhere near there to correct that kid.
Yep. Completely.
They're just holed up in their room somewhere with no supervision.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been growing up that way for years, and now they're going into the adult world, doing whatever they want and expecting not to have any repercussions, and getting mad, violent in some cases, when the stupid things that they are doing comes back in a physical way to them.
Yeah.
Mike Tyson said everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the face. Like you want to be a jerk to somebody in real life, you're going to get punched in the face. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I just we went to I took my kids to this church that's right down the street from the KOA, and so I took them over there and I left them because it's a youth thing, right? And so I came back, and my younger daughter Taylor was not having a good time, and the kids were kind of picking on her and stuff, and she was trying to get away from them, and they kept following her. And finally, I was watching it happen for a long time, and I looked at the little kid, the little boy, and I was like, "Hey, stud, you got no place to complain when she punches you in your face. And if there's any child out here that's going to do it, it's my child. She's going to punch you in your face, and you need to stop." And he was like, and he immediately stopped. But then Taylor, after that, she was like, I wanted to punch him, but I thought I'd get in trouble. And I was like, no, if somebody's picking on you like that, punch them in their face. They'll learn. And so
that was always my philosophy. There's only one way to deal with a bully.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's terrible to go that direction. But, I always taught my kids, if you can, your best defense is to walk the hell away. But sometimes you just gotta stop and do it. But
well, that's just it. Again, it goes back to the kid's going to do it until he reaps the repercussions.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if it's getting punched in the face, that's the least of his worries. Because if he does it and he gets older, and somebody ends up freaking
with a knife,
with a knife or a gun,
Yeah.
Yeah, and the kid that stabbed the other kid, I think I read somewhere that he stabbed him in the eye.
What?
I read the chest.
Oh.
And somebody keeps. Well, I think one of the headlines read stabbed him in the heart, and people keep saying he didn't stab him in the heart. Well, he stabbed him in the chest. And if he hit the heart, he could die really, really quick, or puncture the lung. And that's the only thing I can think of, because if he stabbed him, well, maybe I guess in the eye, or the throat or something like that. It has to be a vital area,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, but then he told the cops, I did it.
Yeah. I did read that. Yeah.
That's the biggest thing now is there's no remorse.
Right.
It's it's okay.
Yeah, because you grew up.
Somebody died. Somebody died, and they'll come back. There's no remorse for anything. Go with what you were talking about, Vic, with this whatever you're listening to, this book that we've talked about this before, but we're all of the age that if you were over at a friend's house or something in the neighborhood, and you were doing something stupid, I got my butt handed to me there.
Mm-hmm.
I was told to go home. Before I even got home, there was a phone call made to get it handed to me when I got home. That's go with like you're saying, Vic, because now everybody's afraid, you don't touch my kid. It used to be, coaches in school or even Little League and that used to have the ability to say, tell your kid, hey, you're an idiot. The way you're acting right now. But, I wouldn't even want to coach. I wouldn't want to, heck, even like in your line of work, Vic, as a teacher, I can only imagine, how parents are with their kids and stuff. It's like, well, how dare did, Johnny he didn't get a passing grade, or he got a C on his test. And it's like, we didn't do the work. What do you want me to do about it? I know when my son's 27 now, 28. I can't remember now, but he had friends over at the house, when he was in high school, and some of those kids were complete jackasses.
Yeah.
We had an older dog. She was a lab, like collie mix, but she had stomach issues and stuff like that, where they were all sitting in the living room this Sunday watching football or something. Well, they had those the Flamin' Hot Doritos came out.
Oh,
they had Flamin' Hot Doritos, and this one kid, I walk around the corner, and he's sitting there, they're all laughing, and he's feeding the damn dog Flamin' Hot Doritos. And all of a sudden, she starts gagging and coughing, and I said to my son, I said, you let him do that crap? And he's like, well, I only gave him one. And they were all still laughing. And I was like, I said, if I ever see you feeding my dog damn Flamin' Hot Doritos again, I said, I'm going to freaking smack the shit out of you. He goes, I'd like to see it all, man. I said, get the fuck out of my house. Get out. Walked over, opened the door. I said, walk your fucking happy ass out my fucking door now.
Wow.
He went out and I shut the door, locked it, and he stood out there. And Bailey's like, "Well, how's he gonna get home?" I said, "That's not my damn fault. I couldn't care less."
Yeah.
Start freaking walking
Think
home.
about what he did all the way on the walk home.
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, "Excuse me, I didn't mean to cuss there, but I was like, walk your happy tail to my door, and there's the door. Bye." And I turned around and I walked back in. I said, "Any of you other idiots freaking need to go too?" And they're like, "No, sir." Okay.
Yeah.
I never saw that kid again. I said to Bailey, I said, "If that kid ever steps foot in this house again," I said, "he is never to come back at this house. You understand me?" He goes, "Yes, sir."
Wow. Yeah, I like it. Good call on it. When I was living on Fort Story here in Virginia, I was the guy that went around, like if kids were outside doing something stupid, I'd be like, I just yell at them, "Hey, nuh-uh, we're not playing that game. Don't do that." I just tell them. And I'll be honest, I didn't have one parent come over and talk to me now, granted, most everyone there was probably scared to death of me, but I was the grumpy old man in the neighborhood. But
I think they're more scared of your kids.
well, there's that too. Yeah. I wonder where my kids get it, but yeah, it was pretty funny. There's many a times I go out and correct, and all the kids knew it. They saw me coming. They were like, "Oh, stop doing that." And so they just knew.
There's old man Cox.
Yeah, old man Cox is coming. Leave him alone.
They'll do what they know they can get away with.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, hopefully this kid freaking suffers the consequences, and not that others will pay attention to it, but we'll see. But they let this kid get off, then other people would think they're going to do it.
Yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
that's the terrible thing. You think about it, even these school shootings and stuff. Do those kids actually stop and think, I've got to live with this for the rest of my life? When that kid's 30, 40, 50 years old, is he actually going to be like, I took somebody's life over something stupid? I don't know if they even think like that in today's world. I mean, there's still kids out there that do. But, I mean, I just don't understand. It's one thing in combat or war or something, and people have to live with that for the rest of their life.
Mm-hmm.
But can you imagine just being a teenage kid and stabbing another kid in the chest and killing them?
Well, I mean, it happens a lot, and not necessarily that specific, but killing somebody right as a teenager. My dad, as a prison minister, there were tons of people that were in prison that did something stupid like that when they were younger, and the majority of them that I met, at least, very remorseful. But they don't realize the potential of what's going to happen on the other side. They just see I can solve this problem by, taking this person out right now, and I won't feel any remorse. I won't feel guilty. I won't have those types of feelings. But the reality is they're going to at some point in time.
But how many of those were from broken homes and didn't have a good father figure in their life?
I'm sure a good majority of them, if not,
or even their mother, telling them right from wrong.
And that's exactly what I was just going to say, Aaron. You hit it right on the. I mean,
well, apparently, this Carmelo Anthony kid. Apparently, his dad has spoken up and said, "Hey, he's a good kid, this, that, and the other." Well, why did he have a knife at school?
Yeah,
at a school event. We'll say a school event, because last time I checked, all the tracks are on school grounds.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
I don't know, man. It's just crazy. How do we get back to the way the times used to be? How do we get back there? And that I don't have an answer for it. Broken homes is a huge one.
Absolutely.
Nowadays, somebody gets married and the first thing that something goes wrong or whatever, they're going to get divorced right away. And how often, especially even in the military, how often do you see people getting divorced? And it happens all the time. But what are you going to do? And And sometimes that father figure stays in the picture and it turns out okay. And then sometimes that's not the case. That father figure is never around, especially if they have, the father and the mother don't see eye to eye. That makes things even worse, because now a kid's having to take sides.
Yep.
And that's where it gets real bad.
Yep.
Gotta love it, man. Gotta love it.
Well, that's
always the kids
definitely
that lose.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But that's the conversation, Aaron, is the father figure. As the guy I work with, he talked about that he's a black guy. Doesn't matter that he's black, but he talks about it, especially in the black community, that the lack of father figures that are willing to to be there. And he said now these kids don't know what it's like to be a man or to be a father. And it's not just a black community, it's just in general in society in general.
Yeah.
And it's almost like bragging rights. It's like how many baby mamas they have. It's like, seriously?
Who's the famous actor?
Nick Cannon.
Who is
Nick
it?
Cannon.
Yeah,
Nick Cannon.
He's got a ridiculous amount of kids.
Sure.
Yep.
Yeah, but he's got the money. At least he actually does support his kids.
Yeah,
But,
well, he sets the example for all these young kids coming up, and they're like, "Oh,
Yeah.
I could be like Nick Cannon.
Absolutely, yeah.
I can become famous, and I can make music. I can become an actor or whatever, and then I ain't got no worries." Well, guess what? The odds are stacked against you, bud.
Yeah.
Not everybody's making money like that.
Why do you think I joined the Marine Corps?
Yeah. I love it. Oh man. Well, Aaron, you got anything else?
No, well, I mean, there's other stuff going on right now. I see, not to draw it out, but I see just a quick note. Some countries want to come to the bargaining table with these tariffs and stuff now. So
Oh, no kidding.
We'll see how this plays out.
Yeah. We'll see. I think I just saw something today, and they were saying, "Hold on, just wait, it'll get better," something like that. I don't know. But I'll be honest, I haven't really been paying attention to any of that stuff. But
they're talking about the market.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, people are spazzing because the market's dropping, and it's like, buy more. It's going to go back up. Buy.
Shoot, man, when it goes down, man, that's your chance.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is it? Buy low, sell high. Is that what they say?
Yep.
Yeah. I don't buy anything. The wife buys stuff. I don't deal with it because my luck and a gamble. I always lose. Anytime.
Well, it does this. It does this, and over time, it does this as it's climbing.
Yeah.
What they're going to end up doing is going to. I don't think they will now, but it's like when the Great Depression happened. They ended up scaring everybody, and everybody basically took all their crap out, and that's what caused it. Yeah, and that's what caused it to crash. So.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it's called, but it's an actual concept of there are going to be dips in the market, but it's always going to rise, and when it rises, it's going to rise a little bit more than where it started from the dip. So it's constantly in an up, but there are going to be dips, and it's and there's an actual name for it. I just can't remember what it's called, but it's like it's going to go back up, and people are like, "Well, I just lost $10,000 on my 401k." Okay, in 2 years you're going to have $50,000. It's going to be back up,
Yeah.
It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay,
Yeah.
Buy cigars.
If you
go buy cigars.
There you go. And whiskey.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know a guy who's sitting on a bottle of Pappy Van Winkle 15 year, and he's thinking about his wife wants to go to Italy, so he's thinking about selling the bottle for many thousands of dollars to fund his wife's trip to Italy.
Wow.
I mean, they're investments. They're investments.
Yeah,
it is, but that's desperate. See, in their mind. Wait, you said Italy?
Yeah, she wants to go to Italy.
Take her to Little Italy or something like that.
There you go.
Yeah.
I
Is
said,
that place in New York in Manhattan's called Italy?
Yeah.
oh, I love it. That's good stuff. All right. Well, I guess we can move on. We can go to Marvelous Mary news with Mike McNanny.
Still want to know what the hell that barn is with my picture. It's like, what?
That's a pretty good pick, Mike.
He
Yeah, it's
was
better
almost
than this.
completely
Yeah.
clean shaven, and
Yeah, I was happy. We were in Alaska, so I had a smile on my face one of the few times.
yeah,
All right, let's get the
you have a
Marvelous
smile
Mary
on your
news.
face all the time on the podcast.
Yeah, on here, but any other time, I was like, why are you so bad? That's all I ever
I've
do.
never had a problem with you being mad. You've always been happy-go-lucky.
Hello, my baby. Hello, my baby.
or sorry to cut you off, or it's been Andrew's jackassery that's kept you laughing.
Yeah,
This is
Yeah.
true.
and you're welcome.
Jackassery. See, that's a word that needs to come back more often. I got to remember that, Jack. Let me write that down. Jackassery.
Yeah, gotta love it.
Use that
Somebody
more
has
often.
to be a jackass. Might as well be me.
All right. Good news today. The world's smallest pacemaker has been created for newborns. It is activated by light and requires no surgery.
Wow.
Northwestern University has developed a pacemaker so small that it can fit inside the tip of a syringe and be non-invasively injected into the body, according to a new study. Although it can work with hearts of all sizes, the pacemaker was specifically made and suited for the tiny, fragile hearts of newborn babies who suffer from congenital heart defects.
What?
Said a pacemaker is an implantable device that helps maintain an even heart rate, either because the heart's natural cardiac pacemaker provides an inadequate or irregular heartbeat, or because there is a block in the heart's electrical conduction system. It says smaller than a grain of rice, the pacemaker is paired with a soft, flexible, wireless wearable device that mounts onto a patient's chest to control pacing. When a wearable device detects an irregular heartbeat, it automatically shines a light through the skin to activate the pacemaker.
Wow.
These short light pulses, which penetrate the patient's skin, breastbone, and even muscle, control the pacing. Designed for patients who only need temporary pacing, the pacemaker simply dissolves after it is no longer needed. All the pacemaker's components are biocompatible, so they naturally dissolve into the body biofluids, bypassing the need for surgical extraction.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it's pretty
That's
neat to
insane.
think that they can do that, for a child, until they get old enough, a baby, that they can actually undergo surgery at that point, but that's what it's for. Said that this demonstrates the device's efficacy across a series of large and small animal models, as well as human hearts from decreased organ donors. We have developed what is, to our knowledge, the world's smallest pacemaker, said John A. Rogers, PhD, professor of neurological surgery, dermatology at the McCormick School of Engineering, who led the development. There's a crucial need for temporary pacemakers in the context of pediatric heart surgeries, and that's a use case where size miniaturization is incredibly important in terms of the device load on the body, and the smaller the body, the smaller the pacemaker needs to be. Said about 1% of children are born with congenital heart defects, regardless of whether they live in a low resource or high resource country. The good news is that these children only need temporary pacing after a surgery. In about 7 days or so, most patients' hearts will self-repair. But those 7 days are absolutely critical. Now, with this tiny pacemaker on a child's heart, it can stimulate it with a soft, gentle, wearable device, and no additional surgery will ever be required to remove it.
That's amazing.
Yeah. People smarter than me, I know that, but
Yeah,
Man,
I think that's outstanding, because if there's one thing that I kind of don't understand, and as a believer in God, is why children, young children have either heart defects or child cancer or any of that stuff. It's hard for me to. I don't want to. I guess there's really no other way to put it. Like an older person, like even me, if I start having heart issues and stuff because I didn't do the best I could to take care of my heart, I would much rather a kid like that, that
Yeah.
that has heart issues get some type of help before I would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing. Go ahead, Andrew. I'm sorry.
I was going to say that I always have the harder time dealing and seeing when kids have issues. That always impacts me way more, and just I don't know. It gets me all kinds of worked up. It's tough to deal with.
Yeah. That's a big thing that they're talking, more and more with birth defects and stuff like that. And I was listening to it's a podcast I listen to all the time, but it was I'd have to go back and look it up. I'm sure you can find it online, but there was a study done that like bioplastics.
Mm-hmm.
We now as human beings in the world today have at least a credit card size worth of plastics in our body. From heating food up in a microwave and microwave containers.
No kidding.
And that they're saying now that this particular study was showing that I think they said 95%. I don't know what the donor, the test sample was, and I'm sure it was several hundred, but within that test subject, 95% had extremely high levels of bioplastics in their sperm.
That's crazy.
That is causing that they're linking a lot of that now to specific birth defects and autisms and stuff like that. So
maybe that's why there's more autism nowadays. It
could be, yeah. And it was just a random study that somebody was like, "Hey, do you ever stop and think about this?" And they, it's like, "Hey, let's get a whole bunch of guys in here, and here's a cup." So they started testing all that, and it was they said 95% had dangerously high levels of bioplastics or microplastics, in their sperm count, in their sperm.
That's interesting.
I would just like to point out this story also highlights that good things come in small packages. So if somebody could remind my wife.
Oh my God. Nice.
The only thing I can think of is that what is it, Alan Jackson song? It's all right to be little bitty.
Oh my God, I hadn't heard that song in a long time. Good Lord.
Oh my God. That's perfect. Yeah, it's all right.
You're doing something right, Vic. I don't know what it is. But.
Yeah, when you figure it out, let me know.
It's some creamy cigars.
There you go.
Speaking of cigars, I meant to say that earlier when you were giving you were talking about what were they, $600?
Yep.
It was a video I was watching the other day, and I was going to send it to you guys, and my phone rang and I answered it. When I went back to the video, I couldn't find it again, but they were talking about it was a study done that people that smoke like premium cigars, like good cigars, not Swisher Sweets, crap like that, have a lower rate of throat cancer, lung cancer, and I forget what all it was. It was actually a study done by like the American Heart Society or something like that. They were talking about higher grade or better quality cigars because, it was one of those where, there's a bunch of college kids or something standing there and the guy's like, well, he said, so what you're saying is anybody that smokes a cigar or smokes is going to die. And he goes, yes. He goes, well, where's your proof on that? He goes, well, I don't have any. He says, so that's your opinion. And he literally started quoting these studies. And he said, that's funny. He said, these studies done have actually shown that people that smoke higher, better quality cigars are not getting cancer. They're not getting, lung cancer, throat cancer, mouth cancer, stuff like that.
Do you think it's because it's smoking the pure tobacco instead of like additives and stuff like that?
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
A lot of cigars, especially the lower end cigars, in trying to replicate the taste of the higher end cigars, will actually add like oils or other things to sweeten the cigars or to make the cigars more mellow and all that kind of stuff. And to an extent, you know, the industry is largely unregulated in that particular aspect. So like there are a lot of flavored cigars out there because Drew Estates, for example, makes a lot of flavored cigars. They're the tobacco cigars. They're like chocolate and Java flavored and all this kind of stuff. And then the what are they called? Desert crap, not desert rose. Leather rose maybe. The Fat Bottom Betty line of cigars are flavored, but I think they're also, I'm not sure if they're a Drew Estate cigar, but there's a lot of flavored cigars out there. The acid cigars that you see are actually smoked. So what they do is when they're aging the tobacco leaf, you know, you hang the tobacco leaf, you know, on these rods and let them age, right?
Yeah.
Let them cure. While they're curing, acid will actually like put herbs and different things underneath them and like smoke the tobacco leaf. So that's how they're infused, but they're still infused with carbon and smoke to get their flavors. So it's but like anytime you get those lower end cigars, they're usually flavored with something. Sometimes it's what is it? The Baccarat cigars are dipped in molasses, you know, that kind of stuff, which, you know, you're basically burning sugar, you know, when you do that and breathing it in, you know. So it's I'm not surprised, you know, the higher end cigars don't do any of that stuff. They let the tobacco speak for itself, you know, without having to add any additives or any flavors or anything like that.
When you say high end cigars with that, like how high end are you talking? Let's talk price point.
I mean, you can get good quality cigars for like ours is a little higher end because we're more of a boutique cigar lounge that can we have a real diverse clientele. I mean, with the affluent community from Hilton Head Island is a retirement community. There are golf course retirement communities all over this region. I mean, you can stand at one and hit another one with a rock. They're that close to each other. And I'm not kidding. I'm literally talking. They butt right up next to each other. You can stand on the 18th hole and hit another golf course with a rock. You know, it's so I mean, there's that type of community out here. So I would say our cigars are a little bit more, priced in that range. But like the Padron cigars, you know, well, I would say not just Padron, but like any of the cigar manufacturers that start at, like, I would say a baseline model, you can buy good cigars for $13 to $15 a stick. And they let the tobacco speak for itself. And then they just go up from there.
And that's one thing the study was talking about, that somebody said, well, you know, at what price point then are we talking? And he's like, well, it's not. He said, you're not spending. He said, when I say high end, I'm not talking $30-$40 a cigar. He said,
no.
He said there are cigars out there, good cigars, pure cigars you can get for $10. Yep. But he was specifically talking about a specific company, and I don't remember who it was now, but they were all not Honduras, but it may have been, but, you know, tobacco and stuff like that. But that's what he was saying, you know, for like $15 a cigar. And they're like, well, you know, the average person can't afford that. It's like,
well, then you probably shouldn't be smoking them.
Yeah. But a lot of, like you're saying, Vic, a lot of those cigars, how you go to the gas station, you see mango flavored and
exactly,
you know, all that crap, you know, and it's like they're directed towards a certain demographic, unfortunately. Yeah. And that's why they were talking about a ban on like menthol cigarettes and, you know, stuff like that for that specific reason is.
Well, menthol cigarettes are directed toward grandmas. At least where I'm from.
That or my mother-in-law. What are those big ass, long ass cigarettes?
Virginia Slims.
Yeah,
Virginia Slims.
They're like 6 inches long. It's like,
yeah.
Lord. My mother-in-law has that ability. She can light one of those babies, and how the hell she'll hold an ash the whole way down it, I don't know. But
Yeah, it's amazing.
man,
That's funny.
Yeah, regular cigarettes are so bad, so bad for you.
Yeah. I can't tell you what on the recording what we used to call them, but
I can only imagine.
we'll get Andrew kicked off the webs.
yeah.
The interwebs.
Yeah.
Well, I guess unless you have something else, Mike, we can move on. Do you have anything else?
No, not really.
All right. Well, we'll move on.
I was looking for another good news story, but
Well, Sensei Nay turned sideways on us.
Yeah, he did it again. He did that last time too.
yeah, there was another story I was looking at, but I didn't do it.
Yeah. Well, we can get it next time. It's no big deal.
All right.
We'll go ahead. We'll move on to words of wisdom.
Oh man, here
You hear that cricket?
I was gonna say that's peaceful, man. Just
Is that you, Vic? You got the crickets out with you?
you just need a little
Nope.
rain on a tin
Got it.
roof, and got the crickets going, and
Got the frogs? What's going on back there?
Nothing. I just yeah, that's not me.
I don't know. All right, here you go. General Colin Powell's Colin Powell's rules.
You said General Colin Powell's colon. I was like, man, those are words of wisdom. Here we go.
Once you hit 40, don't trust a fart. I'm just kidding. That's not it. I'm just going to read one. It ain't as bad as you think. It will look better in the morning.
Man,
Pretty
yeah.
good.
Reminds me of a
This is
girl I
true.
dated in college.
Oh, God. It's been a while since I've heard you say that.
wow.
That's good. All right. Well, who wants to go next?
I'll go next. It's better to admit you walked through the wrong door than spend your life in the wrong room.
Wow. Okay. That was pretty good. I like it. I heard it again. Who's cricketing?
I'm inside,
think-
so it's got to be
I don't-
good.
I
That
don't
might have
think
been
it's
me
mine.
that time.
Okay.
I saw Vic shift when he did, and I heard it, so I don't know if
Yeah.
I just ripped one. That's all. Yeah.
that was
He's over 40, so you know.
Well, that's just good advice, anyways. Never trust a fart.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
All right, I'll go next. This is from Winston Churchill.
Mm.
If you have enemies, that's a good thing. It means you stood up for something in life.
Ooh. That's a good one. Yeah. I like it.
That's me.
That's you.
Yeah, that was a quick one.
That was the cricket approves, Mike.
It's Jiminy Cricket.
Mm-hmm.
So you got a little cigar too.
It's the high end one though. So
Yeah.
he's up there. All right, Aaron. You got one
All
for
right.
us?
Yep, I got one. Albert Einstein. In the middle of each difficulty lies opportunity.
Ooh. Yeah. We got some good ones tonight. It's all right. It's all
Well,
right.
we're not blessed with
No.
Mark's words of wisdom tonight, but
No, not tonight.
Yeah, we gotta figure out what he would have said tonight.
He comes up with, I'm telling you, I don't know where he comes up with all these crazy ones, but he's got some good ones.
I think he's got a book. He just sits there and flips around. And,
Yeah. He needs to write a book just specifically with those quotes, or just put it.
Well, I'm
put a
sure-
thing together.
I'm sure he took a lot of notes back in his day. He
yeah.
served with some real old timers.
Yeah.
I've got a book of my wife's quotes.
You do have a book of your wife's quotes.
I'm not even kidding.
Let's end the podcast with one of your wife's famous quotes.
The inaugural quote in the book is, "Sometimes I think I'm autistic because of the things I say."
Yeah.
Yep. And then let's see. Another one was, "Do you think when Spider-Man has sex, he can give her a hymen every time?"
Oh my God.
While Jenna while we were pregnant with, or while Amy was pregnant with Jenna, we were on our way to the mall, and she looks at me. She goes, "You think we'll have an Asian-looking baby?" I'm like, "Sweetheart, is this something you need to tell me?"
Yeah.
Could have been.
Something happening I don't know about.
Well, that's part of
Why?
it. That must be part of the autistic quote then.
Yeah.
Some of the things she says.
Oh yeah, there's good ones. We went over to Andrew and Carlene's one year for Thanksgiving. This is when you guys lived up in Camino Los Robles or Robles or whatever it is up there. I mean, that was a long time ago, like 20 years ago. But our first time, it was the first time Amy met Carlene. But we go up there and we asked, "What do you want us to bring?" And Andrew and they were like, "Just whatever you want to drink." So Amy goes buys some Diet Dr. Pepper, and we walk in the front door, and Amy's like, "All right, what do you want me to do with this?" And Carly's like, "Just put it in the drawer, in the fridge." So Amy goes to the fridge. She opens up the drawer, and she goes, "Oh, are those cranberries? Because I brought some Diet Dr. Pepper." And the three of us, me, Andrew, and Carly, just looked at each other. Did you just? And none of us said anything. And here's my wife just putting in the cans in the bottom drawer, and we're all like, "What the fuck was that?" Okay, anyway, so yeah.
Oh my God.
One
I'm
of my
laughing,
favorite.
Vic, but I don't want to say anything because I don't really like. I don't want to say anything about Vic's wife. I mean,
One of my favorite ones is when we were at the School of Music for the unit leaders course. We're driving up Independence Boulevard, and cops have got somebody pulled over, and like he's got him spread over the cop car and frisking him, right? So, and we had been silent car ride for like 10 minutes, and all of a sudden my wife just opens her mouth and says, "You're under arrested, biatch, so spread them and keep your nuts to one side." And I'm like, "What the fuck?"
now you have written these all down, right? You have these all written down.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, they're in the book.
Okay.
He's got a book. He's got a book.
Yeah. You're under arrested. You're under arrested, bitch. So spread them and keep your nuts to one
And-
side.
Them crickets are pretty loud there. If that's
Clearly,
what we're hearing.
they're laughing over the quotes too.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
I can sit here and listen to some more quotes. Come on.
You gotta write a book with those. It would definitely be it would be a top seller, I think.
Well, there was a guy that wrote a book that said "Shit My Dad Says" or something like that. He should write "Shit My Wife Says."
Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
the title of this book is Crazy Amy Quotes, a collection of colorful quotations by Amy Ney.
Ooh,
That's the name of the book.
That's good.
Crazy Amy Thoughts. Collection of
Yeah.
colorful quotations by Amy Ney.
I'm digging it. All right, guys. Well,
Cranberries and Dr. Pepper. That was probably
yeah,
my favorite.
cranberries and Dr. Pepper, baby.
Yeah.
All right. With that, we'll go ahead and wrap it up. Thanks, guys. I appreciate you coming on. And it's you guys make the podcast, so thanks for doing it. Truly appreciate it. To all the listeners out there, if you're struggling, you need help, anything like that, don't forget the VA has some great resources. You can always dial 988, press option 1. You can always text 838-255, or you can go to veteranscrisisline.net and click on that chat icon. Any of those options will put you in contact with somebody that can help you out. But remember, one veteran life lost is one too many. I care about you. I know Vic and Mike and Aaron, they care about you. The whole veteran community cares. So please reach out for help. And if you're out there, you're not struggling, reach out to the buddies you serve with, ask them how they're doing. And if they need some help, give them that helping hand. All right, guys, one last time. Thanks very much. Appreciated. To all the listeners, stay motivated. Change your socks.
Government said they make a million.